Alright class, today we're going to talk about the dot product of two vectors. Basically this allows us to do a couple things. To do it though, you basically just multiply the x components together, so a1 and b1, and then you multiply the y components together, a2, b2, and then add them together. It's important because it tells us if vectors are orthogonal. Now you might be wondering what the heck is that? Orthogonal. So that basically is a fancy word for perpendicular. Okay, so it's just what they use for vectors. When they talk about vectors being perpendicular, they call them orthogonal. Now, we're going to talk about what happens when you have a dot product and what the numbers mean. So let's just figure out how to do a dot product first. So m dot n will equal, and if we look, the x components are 7 and 2, so I'm multiplying 7 times 2, and then the y components are 14 and negative 1. Okay, so we get that the dot product is equal to 14 minus 14, which is 0. Now, this actually means something. When the dot product is 0, the vectors are orthogonal or perpendicular. Okay, so this tells us that the vectors are orthogonal. And you can see that too if you graph the vectors. And if you kind of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, try to make the tick marks, pretty accurate, even though that's tough. That would be vector m, 7 to the right and 14 up, and vector n goes 2 to the right and 1 down, which is right here. And if you look at that, those vectors do make a right angle. Okay. Another way you could have done this too, just to show you guys that it's all the same thing, the slope of vector m. Well, the slope is the rise over the run, so that would be 14 over 7, which is 2 over 1. The slope of the other one, n, is negative 1 over 2. And if you remember from Algebra 1, you knew that lines were perpendicular when the slopes were opposite reciprocals, which these slopes are. So it's just showing that all these things mean that those two vectors are perpendicular. But now we have this new thing called the dot product to help us with that. Okay, so let's try the next one. And we're going to use the answer to this next one for the problem after. So v dot w is equal to 2 times 5, because we're doing the x pieces first, plus negative 4 times 6. So we get 10 plus negative 24, which is negative 14. So are they perpendicular? No. It's not equal to 0, so not perpendicular or not orthogonal. Okay, but there is another thing we can use the dot product for, and this formula comes from the law of cosines in vector geometry. We're going to give you this one, I think. So theta is equal to the cosine inverse of the quantity of the dot product between v and w divided by the product of their magnitudes. Okay? Now, what's nice is you can tell if they're perpendicular, orthogonal, or neither with this. It's parallel if theta is equal to 0 degrees or 180, which means there's really a line between them, they're the same thing. And again, perpendicular if theta equals 90 degrees, but that means the dot product will equal 0. That's how you get a 90 for cosine inverse, because cosine is 0 when you're at an angle of 90. So it says find the angle between these two. Well, we already know that the dot product of these two, because this was example 2, is equal to negative 14. Now we need to find the magnitude of v. Well, the magnitude of v, we've done magnitudes before. It's the square root of the square of the two components added together. So it's 2 squared plus 4 squared. Please leave these non-simplified and don't get a decimal, just leave it as is. So that's 16 plus 4 is 20, square root of 20, because you're just typing it into the calculator anyway to get the angle. So now we have the square root of 5 squared plus 6 squared, which is the square root of 61. So you should have these three numbers, negative 14, root 20, and root 61. Now we can find out the angle between them. So theta equals cosine inverse of negative 14 over the product of root 20 and root 61. Then you just have to type it into your calculator, and you get a theta of 113.63 degrees. So that means the vectors, when they are drawn out, there should be an angle between them of 113.63. And you can do that on your own. Try to draw those two vectors from 0, going right and down and right and up, and see what it looks like. Last thing we're going to do with dot product is find the work done by a force that has a displacement d. It's defined as the force dotted with the displacement. Okay? So the thing here is what we have to do, we have to get them as components like last time. So you need to get the force as a component vector and the displacement as a component vector. So Chase uses a force of 200 newtons in the horizontal. In the horizontal generally means that we're at an angle of 0 degrees. So if you remember correctly from the last couple lessons, to componentize a force, you have to take the magnitude, cosine the angle, that's in the I direction, and the magnitude, sine of the angle, in the j direction. Now this one is saying that the displacement's going up, it's going 3 meters, but at an angle of 30. So we have to componentize that. So we will do 3 cosine 30 and 3 sine 30. Okay, now we can write the answers to these. You can just use your calculator. This is just going to be 200 in the I plus 0 in the j direction because it's only moving to the right. This one, when you type that in, you can do that exactly, but we'll deal with that. So 2.60 in the I, plus this one would just be 1.5 in the j direction. So those are my two vectors, the force and displacement. So work is equal to F dotted with D, which is equal to, if you remember, take the x components first from the front page. I shouldn't say that they don't come from the front page, the formula does. Plus, and if you notice, when you multiply the y components, we're just going to get a 0, because we have 0 times 1.5. Actually, I'll write that just so you can see where all the numbers come from. And when you do all that calculation, basically 200 times 2.6, you get 520. Now, you can look up at your units, and if you noticed it's newtons and meters, so I would accept newton meters. There is also another name for that called a joule. Okay. Now we're going to do one more. But again, componentize and then dot. So next one, we're pushing a cart. This time the displacement is in the horizontal to the right. And 5 sine 0 degrees. The force is 10. We're pushing at an angle of 20 degrees though. So here's an Okay, so those are my setups. I have 10 cosine 20 in the I direction plus 10 sine 20 in the j direction for force. And then we have the 5 cosine 0 and the 5 sine 0. To do this, you just use your calculator. We get 9.40 in the I direction. Plus, we get 3.42 in the j direction, although that won't even matter. When you do this one, you get 5i plus 0j, and that's why that one won't matter, because when you do the dot product, that will go away. Force dot displacement is equal to 9.4 times 5 plus 3.42 times 0. Again, that second piece will be 0, so you don't have to worry about it. And we get that the work done is 47. Now, because we have different units, they are foot-pounds. Instead of Newton meters, they're foot-pounds. There is no, we don't call that anything else, so that would be it. Okay, so that is the dot product, and I'll see you next time.